Am I the asshole for enforcing basic boundaries on my daughter's sleepover? I, a 42-year-old man, have two children living with me, my daughter Anya, a 17-year-old female, and my stepson Noah, a 14-year-old male. Noah's mother passed away a few years ago, and I have had full custody since. He has had a rough time, but he is a good kid with his quirks. He is not antisocial or shy, but he does not appreciate having his space invaded, and when very upset, he can somewhat shut down. Anya is much more outgoing and has many friends. She asked to have a sleepover this weekend with 4 of them. I said yes, of course, but given that the friends who were coming were quite loud and have a tendency to crowd Noah, I told her to make sure they do not go into her brother's room. I also asked them to keep things quiet after 11 o'clock at night so that the house can sleep. In my opinion, these are not strict rules. To my surprise, I came upstairs to check on them at about 10 o'clock at night. They are 17, so I did not think I needed to check on them every hour or anything. However, they were in Noah's room, and they looked like they had been there for a while. 2 were literally sitting on his bed with him there. One of them was flipping through his sketchbook, another was messing with his other belongings, and they were all giggling in a strange way. Noah was clearly upset. He did not say anything or move, but there were tears in his eyes, and he did not respond when I tried to talk to him. I told the girls to get out immediately and that I was calling every single one of their parents. Anya was quite upset with me, but I told her that I gave them 2 rules and they failed spectacularly. I did call all of their parents and sent them home as soon as possible. Anya got very angry, saying I embarrassed her. I told her to go to her room and that we would speak about this in the morning. I spent about 20 minutes with Noah before he decided he wanted to cool down on his own, and I went back to my daughter, who chose not to speak to me. It is late, both of my children are hopefully asleep, and I am left not knowing if I handled things correctly. Am I the asshole? Reddit verdict, not the asshole. Poo mode. Top comments. Comment. You handled things perfectly well. You set very reasonable rules, and your daughter decided not to care and upset Noah. I would ground her. She does not care that she embarrassed Noah, but she certainly cares that she could not get her way. What was she expecting after she broke the rules? Answer. And the precedent to be set if there were no consequences, not only for breaking the rules, but for continuing to violate someone's boundaries while they are visibly uncomfortable. She will encounter all sorts of people with different issues or trauma, and she needs to recognize when she is crossing a line. Another answer. One thing I want to point out is how this may be something Noah thinks about a lot moving forward in life. You stood up for him against your daughter, your biological child. As a teenage boy living with a stepfather and stepsister, he might wonder if you view them equally. You just proved to him that you do. He is as much your son as your daughter. You absolutely handled this the right way. Your daughter was an inconsiderate brat. Consequences. As long as you follow through and are consistent with both children, you are doing a great job. Comment. Holy hell, not the asshole. And it is honestly strange that 4 17-year-old girls decided to spend their evening harassing a 14-year-old boy. Comment. Not the asshole. Your daughter needs to be punished. I have several older brothers. I never went into their rooms, and they never went into mine. It seems like common decency and common sense not to encroach on other people's privacy. They 100% went into his room to tease him, and that is disgusting. Your daughter would probably be absolutely furious if the roles were reversed and he and his friends went through her room. There need to be consequences for her actions. She is too old to be acting like this. Comment. Not the asshole. This is some of the best parenting I have seen in a long time, and I do this sort of thing for a living. You handled this perfectly, and your daughter needs to reflect on what she did to him in his safe space. If she cannot understand, then let her know that for the next week, her room is open to the public for you all to flip through her personal things with her friends. She is far too old to lack empathy, so do not let up or give in at all to her. Comment. Not the asshole. You handled this responsibly. You set rules, the girls broke them, and Noah was clearly upset, which the girls intentionally ignored. The rules were broken, and you sent them home. This does 2 things. First, Anya learned that breaking the rules has consequences, a very important concept to learn as a teenager about to become a legal adult. Second, Noah learned that you will protect him. He is without a mother, and this helps him know that you do care about him and will protect him. I am sure you know this, but he is young, and we all need reassurance. Very good job, original poster. I am sure Anya is upset, but that is because of her own actions. Noah is upset because his sister intentionally hurt him. Those are different things, and you did the right thing in correcting the former child and protecting the latter child. Comment. Not the asshole, but Anya needs further consequences. She outright defied you to the detriment of her brother. There was no reason for them to do that other than to make him uncomfortable. Grounding, removing access to her phone, something. I work with teenagers. You can spot the ones not being disciplined from a mile away. The fact that she is punishing you with the silent treatment tells you that A, she still does not believe she is wrong, B, she does not respect you or your rules, and C, she could not care less about putting her stepbrother in a bad situation. Time to show her that actions have consequences. Write what you think about this situation. Who did the right thing, and who is the asshole? Let's discuss it in the comments. In the meantime, let's move on to the next story. Am I the asshole for not stopping my teenage son's girlfriend from kissing him? I, a 50-year-old, have a son who is 17 years old and recently got into a car accident with a drunk driver. I am very thankful that he is alive, obviously, but his car is totaled. The drunk driver was driving a pickup, and my son drives a small, old convertible, most likely the reason for the amount of damage, and he is fairly injured, with multiple broken bones, many stitches, and so forth, and is currently recovering. This all occurred last week on Saturday, the night of the accident. My family, my wife, who is 45 years old, and my daughter, who is 14 years old, got there, I want to say, an hour before his girlfriend arrived. When she came in, she ran to him in his hospital bed and started hugging and kissing him, mainly on the lips, but also on other places on his face. She stayed for most of the night, checking up on him and being supportive, and I was happy that my son and his girlfriend had such a good relationship. As we were driving home that night, my wife said she was upset that I did not say anything to my son's girlfriend. I asked why I would have, as she was being a good partner. My wife said that it felt weird seeing that, especially in front of his family. I said that he was going off to college regardless, and that she was being a really nice partner, and that night showed us how much she truly cared for him. She rushed off of work to get there and was still wearing her work clothes when she arrived. My wife started getting angrier and said that she thought it was gross and that I should have asked her to leave at some point. I told her that I am not telling my hospitalized son that I am taking away something that clearly makes him happy. She told me it was gross and that I needed to put a stop to it. I told her she was worrying about the wrong thing and that anything that brought our son comfort was good. My brother had taken my daughter home before this, so she did not hear us arguing. She told me I needed to step up and do my job. And I have kept thinking about it, and I am started to wonder if I am in the wrong. Reddit verdict? Not the asshole. Top comments. Comment. Not the asshole. Your wife needs to accept that your son is growing up. A 5-year-old says kissing is gross, not a 45-year-old with multiple children. What kind of argument is that? Besides, kissing is not inappropriate at 17 years old, and she was relieved to see him after a scary accident. It is not as if they spend their free time making out in front of you. Comment. I am sorry to say this, but someone needs to. Your wife is acting as if she is jealous. She needs a reality check. Your son has his own life, and he is not her little baby anymore. He is about to go to college. He's basically grown. The only reason to have an issue with it is if the son has an issue with it. It is his body, not your wife's. If he had an issue with it, then he would have said so. Is this more about her being upset that he is hurt but doesn't need her as much anymore, or because she knows he's about to leave and go to college? Either way, she sounds jealous, and that is not healthy for her, your son, your relationship with her, or her relationship with your son. Tell her to go to therapy. Answer. This is exactly how my mother used to act. It started like this in my teens and escalated all the way up until my marriage in my late 20s. It ended with the dissolution of our relationship completely. Answer to answer. It is way more common than people think, but people will always try to think it has to be because of something else. The reality is that this stuff happens a lot when mothers feel that they are entitled to call the shots for their grown sons. My mother did this stuff too, and she died with us estranged, as did my sister. But my sister and I both have very healthy relationships with our children. What is sad is that it very well may result in the end of the relationship with the son as well as a divorce with the husband. And if the husband does not stick up for his son, then it may end their relationship as well. Comment. Not the asshole. Your wife is one of those women who want to chase off women from their sons. Keep her away from his relationships. Answer. This. God, those moms are the worst. I have been so close with every other ex's mom, but I am currently dating a guy with a boy mom who is jealous and literally calls me the devil woman. She is so jealous of the time he spends with me. This has been very sad for me. I do not have a mom, so I have always dreamed of having a mother-in-law. I was so excited and pushing him to have her around more than he wanted until she called me lazy for sleeping during the day when I was sick instead of cleaning up after him. He's 45 years old, and I am 36 years old. Since then, it has only gotten worse. She just wants him all to herself. The result is that she gets less of her son by his choice. Write what you think about this situation. Who did the right thing, and who is the asshole? Let's discuss it in the comments. In the meantime, let's move on to the next story. Manager told us we had to follow the dress code exactly as written, so I did, exactly as written. I used to work at a company that had a business casual dress code. It was always somewhat ambiguous. People wore polo shirts, button-down shirts, blouses, slacks, and similar attire. No one cared as long as you looked tidy. Then we got a new manager. In his first week, he sent out an all-staff email. From now on, the dress code must be followed exactly as written in the handbook. No exceptions. All right. I dug out the dusty employee handbook and thoroughly read the dress code. It had not been updated since the late 1990s. It was very specific. Men, dress shirt, tie, slacks, and jacket. Women, knee-length skirt, nylons, blouse, and closed-toe shoes. No polo shirts, no cardigans, no khakis. The next Monday, I showed up in a suit and tie. I rarely wear jackets to work, so everyone immediately noticed. Then other colleagues started reading the handbook too, because after all, the boss said to follow it precisely as written. By Wednesday, the office looked like a time capsule. A coworker was wearing shoulder pads and nylons in the August heat. Another colleague pulled out his wedding attire. Someone even showed up at work with suspenders because the handbook allowed it. Half of the staff was sweating profusely because we were not permitted to remove our jackets while sitting at our desks. HR was not happy. They received several complaints about hostile working conditions due to the enforced dress code. 1 week later, we received a new message. Use common sense in following the dress code. Business casual, as practiced before, is acceptable. Polo shirts and khakis were once again in style. Our manager never mentioned the handbook again. Top comments. Comment. Did anyone mention to HR that the dress code in the handbook was from the 1990s? Author. Honestly, they probably noticed on their own. Those shoulder pad suits and clip-on ties were not fooling anybody. Laughing out loud. Comment. As a director of compliance, every time I read that the employee handbook has not been updated since a certain year, I shudder at the risk created by not having an annual review program. Comment. I had a friend at a previous job who wore his necktie around his head. When asked to remove it, he said he was following the dress code. Men must wear a button-down shirt with a tie. It did not specify where the tie was to be placed. It was a call center. We never met our clients in person. Cheers, Brandon, you absolute legend. What do you think about this situation? Who do you think is a jerk, and who did the right thing? Share your thoughts in the comments and subscribe to the channel to get more cool and interesting stories. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.